Hello everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the first webinar on energy being organized by the ASEAN Center for Energy. Um, uh, I'm very glad to have all of you join with us today, this afternoon on 31st May 2016. The first kind of activity on webinar that we organize. So uh, today webinar is setting the topic on the question: is ASEAN going to the right direction on the clean energy? So myself as Benny Suryadi, a research analyst from the Policy Research and Analytic Unit under the ASEAN Center for Energy, will be your moderator for the session in the next 1 hour. And today we will have two speakers. The first one is Mrs. Badaria Yosiana, the acting manager of the ASEAN Renewable Energy Support Program, and she will join with us from San Francisco, United States. As Miss Yosiana is also attending the G20 workshop. And then we will have also Mr. Speaker, Mr. Rio John Peter Silitonga, our ACE technical officer on energy efficiency. So as I may show you that this is the agenda for our today's webinar. There are 5 minutes. I will quickly brief on the introduction and then how we will run this webinar, and then I will ask the first speaker to talk about the renewable energy, and the second speaker will talk about the energy efficiency and conservation. And then we will have about 20 minutes Q&A and 5 minutes for the final closing on our agenda. This is as a quick introduction for you also. That's allow me to inform about the ACE, the organizer. That's we are the intergovernmental organization under the arm of the ASEAN Energy Minister Meeting, and ACE is playing 3 critical roles in ASEAN energy sector. That's the energy think tank, the catalyst of cooperation for all of activity in ASEAN, and also playing as the Center for Data and Knowledge Hub, which is one of our activity is conducting this webinar. The webinar housekeeping that you will see in your screen, that you have your right of your screen, that's the box where you can connect to us to the telephone or mic speaker, and I will put everyone in the model first, and then there is a box there where you can type any question that you would like to raise to both speaker, and then also some that you may see that where you can click on the hand icon. So if you want to speak, if you want to raise an issue, please click that line, and so that I can, as the moderator and for this session, that I will able to do that. So this is a webinar housekeeping that you may see my screen now. That's how you also have an option to write or to raise the question. There is a box that you can fill in your question during the session. So again, then this webinar will be a recording. Then I said that all of you will be on mute mode. That's if you want to speak, you want to raise a question, raise your hand, and then click the icon hands up. So I will, as a moderator, I will facilitate for our discussion. For that, for the early introduction, that's we will start our webinar, and then by with our first speaker, that Ms. Badaria Yosiana. She is acting for the ASEAN Renewable Energy Support with our dialogue partner called GIZ, and as I said, that she is joined with us from San Francisco, US. Now, I guess it's bad time in US right now. That's can we hear from you, Miss Yosiana?
Hi, Benny. Hi, everyone.
So that's if you're ready with your slide, that I will hand over the screen to you, and then you will have a 15 minutes discussion. As said, that's our topic for today is ASEAN going to the right direction on the clean energy. I know a lot of people have their own definition on the clean energy, but in this context, we are talking only specific for two items on the renewable energy, where we will have you, Mrs. Yosiana, to talk about the progress of the renewable energy in ASEAN, and also Mr. Rio will speak from the perspective of the energy efficiency. So, Ms. Yosiana, that's if you're ready, that's I can share with you for the slide, and then I said that you have 15 minutes to present.
Okay. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes. Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Benny, for the introductions. Good morning, everyone. And as Benny mentions, right now I'm in San Francisco, and it's right now at almost midnight. So yeah. So today we will talk about answering the questions, is ASEAN going in the right directions on clean energy? And I will speak more on the renewable energy. Okay, for those of you who are not from the regions, I will give you a brief information about the ASEAN key figures and what the opportunities lies behind it. Okay, in terms of the economy, between 2007 until 2014, the GDP of ASEAN is nearly doubled from around 1.3 trillion to 2.6 trillion, and in terms of the GDP per capita, it increased significantly by 67%. So right now the GDP per capita in ASEAN is around $4,100 US in 2014. And then the ASEAN economy was the 7th largest in the world, and it's the 3rd largest in Asia, only behind China and Japan. And then in terms of the ASEAN populations, we had almost 622 million in 2014, and it is the 3rd largest in the world, only behind China and India. And among those 622 million, more than half are below 30 years of age, so it's a very productive populations. And in terms of the trade, in 2014, the total ASEAN trade reached around 2.5 trillion US dollars, and from that numbers we share within the ASEAN 24%, and the rest we share to the rest of the world. For example, like China, Europe, Japan, and America. And then if we talk about the electricity consumptions, it's around 1,100 kilowatt hour per capita, and the electrification rate is around 78.7%. Of course, there are high disparity in ASEAN, for example, like Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. The electrification ratio is, we can say 100%, but then we have, for example, like Cambodia, Myanmar, with still the electrification ratio is still quite low, and then the average electrification rate, it's actually still below on the global average. Okay, so I've mentioned about the glimpse of the ASEAN key figures, and if we talk about the regional commitments on the renewable energy, as we know that the ASEAN has so-called the ASEAN Plan of Actions for Energy Cooperation, or we call it APAEC. It's the APAEC itself is a series of guiding policy documents to support the implementation of multilateral energy cooperations to advance the regional integration and connectivity goals in ASEAN. So the APAEC serves as a blueprint, or we can call it like a Bible of energy, we can say. And then under this, the APAEC 2000, from this year, the APAEC is 2016 until 2025, and with the theme of enhancing energy connectivity and market integration in ASEAN to achieve the energy security, accessibility, affordability, and sustainability for all. Then under this APAEC, the ASEAN member states agreed to have this aspirational target of 23% share of renewable energy in the ASEAN energy mix, or TPS, by 2025. And then under this APAEC, we have 7 program areas, but I will talk more on this renewable energy. Okay, as I mentioned before about the targets, the aspirational targets of the ASEAN. So where are we now? Where are ASEAN right now in terms of this energy mix? So as you can see in the graph, that from this year, the gray area is the non-renewable energy, and the green area is for the renewable energy. So as you can see, the share of renewable energy is actually increasing, and from the data that we have here from 1990 until 2013, the CAGR of RE is 6%. And if we take a closer look on the 2013 data, the total primary energy supply in ASEAN reached around 619 million ton of equivalent. And among from these numbers, the share of RE is only 9.1%. So remember the target of 23%, we still have a quite big homework to reach that. So the renewable energy in 2013 is only 56 MTOE, and among these numbers, the largest is from hydropower and geothermal, and the rest are from like solar PV, wind, and biomass. Okay, and we right now take a closer look on the power sector. So from 2006 until 2014, again, the share of RE is actually increasing in ASEAN, and the CAGR is around 10.25%. And if we take a closer look on 2014 data, the total installed power capacity in ASEAN reached around 197 gigawatt, and it produced around 807 terawatt hour. And then from these numbers, the share of RE in terms of installed capacity, it reached around 26%. And if we talk about the power, the electricity generations, the share of RE is around 21%. And if we take a closer look, so the total installed capacity of renewable energy in ASEAN is around 46 gigawatt, and it produced around 169 terawatt hour. And then still, the largest part of renewable energy still comes from the hydropower. So it includes all the hydropower. So in ASEAN, if we talk about the ASEAN level, the definitions of renewable energy is also including large hydropower. So it's not only small-scale hydropower, but it also includes the large hydropower. So the share of hydropower in this 26% of RE, it contributes around 20%. So yes, most of the renewable energy comes from the hydropower. And then the next biggest is geothermal. It's around 1.75%. And then we have a biomass around 2%. And then the rest, we have solar, wind, and others. And others is like biogas. Okay, let's move on the renewable energy policies implemented in the regions. So from the 10 ASEAN member states, all of the countries actually already already have their own renewable energy targets. So, for example, like Brunei, they have set the target of 10% RE share in power generations by 2035, and this target is mentions in the Brunei Energy White Paper. So, for example, like Indonesia, they set targets of 23% of new and renewable energy share in energy mix, but in 2025. So as you can see in the slides here, that actually all of the ASEAN member states has set the targets for the renewable energy. And then if we talk about the feed-in tariff, only 6 countries that actually already implemented the feed-in tariff. That is Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Singapore. They have so-called net settlement, or it's kind of like net metering. And then in Thailand and Vietnam. And in terms of the renewable energy incentives, around 7 countries actually already have some policies on the renewable energy incentives. So, for example, like Cambodia, Indonesia, low PDR, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And example for these renewable energy incentives, among others, are the holiday tax, the tax holiday, and then exemptions on the import of renewable energy products, and then some of the ASEAN member states, they give some incentives for the renewable energy projects. Okay, so in this slide, I will show you the example of feed-in tariff in several ASEAN member states, and this is only for solar PV, wind, and hydro. So as you can see here, for example, if we talk about the solar PV feed-in tariff, Indonesia actually has the highest feed-in tariff in the region. It's around $25 US until 30 cents US dollars. And then the wind feed-in tariff is already available in Vietnam, but it's actually being reviewed because the government has a plan to increase the feed-in tariff for the wind to attract more and more of the RE projects. So Vietnam, Philippines, and Thailand already have the feed-in tariff for the wind, and for Indonesia, for the wind feed-in tariff, it's actually under drafted, and I think it will be published within this year. So as you can see, most of the ASEAN member states had feed-in tariff for hydropower, and then yeah, so for example, like Malaysia, the feed-in tariff for solar PV is around 0.7 ringgit Malaysia until up to 0.92 ringgit Malaysia. It's around 17 cents US dollars until 24 cents US dollars. Okay, so answering the questions of our webinar today, is ASEAN going in the right directions in terms of renewable energy? I will show you the result of our 4th ASEAN Energy Outlook, which was published last year. So under this ASEAN Energy Outlook, we have 2 scenarios. The first is business as usual, and the second one is the advancing policy scenarios. So under the business as usual scenarios, the TPS in ASEAN will reach around 1,600 MTOE. And then under the APS, it will reach around 1,468 MTOE. And then if we talk about the renewable energy, the compound growth of renewables under the BAU scenarios, it will go around 5.3%. And then if we talk under the APS scenarios, it can grow about 7.4%. But in terms of this, the RE share in the TPS, if we can see here, so under the BAU scenarios in 2035, the RE share is only 11.2%. And even if we go under the advancing policy scenarios, the RE share, it could only reach around 20%. And then our target is 23% in 2025. And the result from the ASEAN Energy Outlook, even though it's at the year of 2035, even under the APS, the RE share, it's only 20%. So we still have some 3% gap. So that is the homework that we should cooperate, and then we should go, I think we should go higher. Okay, so this is the closer look on the renewable energy installed power capacity. So as you can see, the renewable energy is predicted to reach around 150 gigawatt in BAU. And then if it is under APS scenarios, it will reach around 156 gigawatt. And the solar PV will reach around 10 gigawatt in BAU and then 10.8 gigawatt in APS. And hydro, the share of hydro will be shrinked, and then geothermal share, it's quite stable. So in the near future, we can see more and more solar PV and wind in ASEAN regions. Okay, so in this slide, I will show you what is actually the challenge in RE deployment in ASEAN. So first, if we talk from the technical issue, the first is the unavailability of data for preliminary assessment. As you know that if you want to implement the renewable energy project, for example, wind project, you need the data which is at least 1 year of the wind speed in specific regions. And the second issue is information exists, but lack of practical knowledge in project development. And some of the ASEAN member states mentioned that the lack of qualified and experienced technical consultants in their respective country to help them to have the project, the RE project development. And then the next issue is the distance and the compatibility of grids to be connected to RE source, because I've talked with one of the Indonesian staff in the Ministry of Energy, and Indonesia just recently has the 5 megawatt solar PV, and they said that the grid, the variability of the solar PV farm is actually causing some problems to the grid. So again, yeah, the distance itself and the compatibility of grids is also very important. And then the scale or the size of the project is actually matter in terms of development costs and land acquisitions. And if we talk about the non-technical issues, there are several here. Some of them are the unreliable and unpredictable renewable energy policy and regulatory measures, and then complex and time-consuming procedures, because as we know, usually to have the permit procedures, it involves a lot of institutions, a lot of departments. It can cost you so much time and also so much money. And then some of the things is difficulty to get external financing because the proposal it doesn't meet the bank's criteria. It's not bankable. And then the reliable supply of fuels also is a very important thing, especially for the biomass or biogas power plants and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is my last slide. And then this is some of the renewable energy program that we do within ACE. So we have some publications, as I mentioned before. We have the 4th ASEAN Energy Outlook. We also have some permit procedures guideline on implementing biomass and biogas project in Indonesia, solar PV in Philippines, and you can download all of that publication in our website. And we also have some joint study. One of the example is under the ACE and GIZ cooperations. We have Siemens and PLN, a joint study on the smart grid. And we also have a lot of focus group discussions, capacity building, some trainings for the bankers, for the project developers, for the governments, and even for the NGOs, for training institutions. And that is my last slide. Thank you, Benny.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Yusiana, for the first presentation on the clean energy, that's specifically renewable energy, to see the question on the whether either ASEAN's going to the right direction on the renewable energy that you're presenting about the target that we have on regional level, and also the effort of the ASEAN member states in their national level. We will come back to you after the second presentation for the Q&A. We have a number of questions from the participants, but now we are moving to our second presenter with Mr. Rio John Peter Silitona. He is a technical officer in charge for all of energy efficiency activity in ASEAN.
Hello, Benny. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, there was a problem before during your introduction, so I think I was lost on your introduction. But anyway, this is my time to present my PowerPoint now, right? Benny?
Yeah, Rio, please go ahead with your presentation on the energy efficiency, responding to the question whether is ASEAN going to the right direction on the energy efficiency.
Thank you, Benny. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Peter Sentong, as introduced by Benny. Today, I'd like to particularly highlight what is going on energy efficiency and conservation in ASEAN region, in correspond to the question, the guideline of this PowerPoint presentation about is ASEAN going to the right direction on clean energy. All right. This is my content of my presentation today in response to the title. So I need to highlight about what is the background for us to call the importance of energy efficiency and conservation, and also what is whether there is a regional target, strategy, and action plan on energy efficiency in this region. And the next content on my presentation about the fundamental mapping. So this is going to show what is the current development of ENC in ASEAN region. And the next topic that I like to bring here is the ASEAN ENC program that been undertaken by ASEAN Center for Energy until now. And to highlight about what is the achievements in terms of energy intensity reduction of this region. And the last one is talking about what is going forward on ENC towards the sustainable energy development. Jeff, I can't stop. Okay. Sorry. The next slide is about. I like to share with you about in a glance about the ASEAN economic and energy situation. As this is as the beacon on what I said for us moving forward towards energy efficiency and conservation. I think Ms. Yosia has already elaborated further on this situation. But in aggregating the information of Ms. Yosia, I just like to add about a little bit about the population of, the total land area of ASEAN region of 4,435,618 square kilometer, which is inhabited by more than 50 million people, or this is as 8.5% of the world's population. So also you can see in the slide about the electrification ratio of us in ASEAN region, which is still below the global average, and in line with the information of Ms. Yosi before about the GDP trend growth in ASEAN, which is 6.1%. So the trend is actually related or reflect the needs of the development of ASEAN total primary energy supply, or TPS. The next, as my background toward energy efficiency and conservation, I'd like to show you about the trends of total primary energy supply from 2013 until 2035, based on the fourth ASEAN Energy Outlook book. So in this slide, I'd like to share with you regarding the trends within the both scenarios. They are the businesses as well and APS for each energy sources. As you can see that the figure of the trend of the total primary energy supply showing that ASEAN is projected to increase steadily from 619 million ton oil equivalent in 2013 and to 1,685 million ton oil equivalent in 2035. So this growing has an annual rate about 4.7%. And in advancing a policy scenario that could be achieved by ASEAN through the implementation of advancing the said scenario. And meanwhile, in the right side of this slide, showing to you about the total final energy consumption from 2013 until 2035. for each sectoral business. So if you see this data showing you the data from 2013 to 2035, showing that industry and transportation will be the high incentive, the consuming the majority with the 30% shares of TPS in 2013. So there was the trend of total energy supply and total energy consumption in ASEAN region. Next, moving forward to the next my presentation, showing to you about the potential reduction for total final energy consumption based on the APS advancing policy scenario. So the data on the figure based on the 2013 until 2035 for both scenario, business as usual and also advancing policy scenario. So from the figure we can see that the region actually has a huge potential to reduce TPS by 16% in 2035 compared to the business as usual scenario. And this projection comes from the projection that we have seen that a lot of various energy efficiency plans and programs have been carried out or implemented in ASEAN member states. So the details of the current development of ASEAN member states on energy efficiency policy and measures will be I will be detailing in the next slides. So as Ms. Yoshi also have touched upon this topic, this is the regional target. I like to particularly focus on the target of the energy efficiency and conservation under the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation APEC 2016-2025. So as you have been aware that this is our blueprint on ASEAN energy cooperation and the theme enhancing energy connectivity and market integration in ASEAN towards the energy security, accessibility, affordability, and sustainability for all. So for energy efficiency and conservation, this region set up the target to reduce 20% energy intensity reduction in 2020 based on year 2005. So this is need a lot of effort towards this target. So in response to the target, this region also set up the strategy and action plan on energy efficiency. There are 4 key strategic items, as you can see in the slide. The first one, ASEAN would like to harmonize the energy efficiency standard on home appliances. So under the first strategy, ASEAN would like to develop the minimum energy performance standard and also to develop national policy and roadmap for maps in each ASEAN member state, and develop infrastructure for maps implementation through such measures like example like awards consumers. And the second key strategy under the plan, which is enhancing private sector participation, including energy service companies or ASCO. So this strategy would like to engage greater participation from private sectors. By action plan set up under the plan, we would like to create more opportunities for private sectors, and we like to continue the capacity building activities and annual competition through ASEAN Energy Awards. The third key strategy under this plan is developing green building codes, which support the use of high energy efficiency products. So our plan under this third key strategy, ASEAN now under preparation to have a cooperation to establish the green building codes and also guidelines on the building practices in ASEAN member states. And also we like to carry out the capacity building on green building and auditors. The fourth key strategy under the plan, also the last key strategy is enhance the participation of financial institutions in ENC development. So meaning to say, our action plan would like to carry out what we have been doing since previous years in terms of enhancing the participation financial institution. We like to conduct the capacity building through seminar workshop for bank and financial institution, also training on financing energy efficiency project, creating a pilot project, and implementation of finance energy efficiency projects for the bank, by the banks and financial institutions. And next, my presentation slide would like to show you about this is the systematic development map for ENC. So before moving through the development of ENC in each ASEAN member state, I'd like to give you to bring to your attention how we need to identify the following measures and on what to do, how to do, and who will do the key ENC measures for the successful ENC development in ASEAN member state. So if you see the figure that there are some key measures of ENC under the vertical line. There are ENC management in national level, the capacity building, support system, and policy and legal system. And for the government and international system, and also need to establish the implementing agency for dissemination and training. So if you look at a closer look, if you have a closer look on policy and legal system, we see that government and institutional system need to design responsible authorities, basic policy on energy, and master plan for ENC. And the implementing agency for dissemination and training need to do statistic data on supply and demand side to give a reference on how to establish such kind of regulatory. So from this point, from the map, we like to direct us to see where is the ASEAN position now, where shall they go, what do ASEAN country need to do, and what the type of cooperation would be needed to support the development after such kind of mapping be undertaken. So here about the basic ENC development in ASEAN, I'd like to highlight about the 6 ASEAN member states in terms of the ENC development. In view that those 6 countries has already a specific ENC under the regulation and policy. So the 6 countries are Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. And if you see the data, we need that kind of data, basic data about population, TPS, and also about, as I mentioned, about the GDP growth trends. And also the mapping showing about the national plan on and policy on ENC. If you see among the 6 countries, almost those 6 countries in ASEAN has already a national plan and policy on ENC. And there's also parity on ENC law regulation in those 6 countries. If you see Indonesia and Malaysia, they just come up with the regulation level on ENC policy. Meanwhile, like Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore, they have already established their ENC law until now, and also they established already government and implementing body to propelling the energy efficiency development and implementation in their each countries. So the next measure is energy management. This is a key measure also on to the successful ENC development on how to monitoring the energy use in all sectoral business sectors. So if you see almost those 6 countries described here has already such kind of energy management measures in those respective countries. This is if you see what we have to have under the energy management is like designated energy user periodical reporting, which is need to monitoring periodically on how the energy use of these sectors in periodically. Also, to propelling the energy management, we need also, the energy management require the certified energy manager and certified energy auditor. This is for sustainability of the energy management in those countries. And Another key measure of ENC development in each ASEAN member states. I'd like to show you about the e-standard labeling system that been around of the 6 countries. In particular about the maps. If you see those 6 countries has already established their minimum energy performance standards for home appliances, and also they have already established their labeling ENC labeling on home appliances. So this is a kind of measures that have been undertaken by 6 ASEAN member states toward the sustainable energy or ENC and conservation development. And in ASEAN member states, 10 ASEAN member states, they have already established the energy ENC target under the advancing process scenario. So 10 ASEAN member states, such as Brunei, they set up 45% energy intensity reduction by 25%. Okay, and also Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, PDR, and you see the parity of how they quantify the energy intensity reduction. There is a different methodology. If you see Singapore, they use energy intensity target by 20% by 2020, but we can see also others like Indonesia and Laos PDR, they like to specifically step through the energy saving by 10% by 2030 in all sectors. And if you see also the energy efficiency incentive mechanism, 6 countries that I have described before, they have already started intensive to promote the energy efficiency and conservation in ASEAN. So where are we now in terms of the progress of energy intensity reduction? If you see in the slide that energy intensity has already started to drop in ASEAN and will be further drop in both scenarios. So from the both scenario perspective, ASEAN in 2025 projected to achieve the energy intensity reduction about 21.7% in business as usual scenario, and advancing policy scenario about minus 27% by 2025. So the energy intensity is formalized by the total primary energy supply divided by the GDP across domestic production using the assumption from the economic growth. So this is a huge development in terms of ENC energy intensity in ASEAN. So what we have been undertaken on the ASEAN Energy Efficiency Program, this slide show you about the ENC program implemented by ASEAN Center for Energy. You see the policy and regulation, joint study, energy management, energy efficiency technology, and so on. So we are now in the preparation also to look into the energy efficiency and conservation on transportation and power plant sectors. And as energy efficiency and conservation going forward, ASEAN's view that most effective ENC is one of the most effective ways meeting future demand concerning the energy supply security and environmental stability. So as shown in my previous slide, that ASEAN still continue to be heavily dependent on fossil fuels. So energy efficiency is one of the tools to curb the dependence on fossil fuels. And then also a lot of barriers and challenges being faced to implement ENC conservation in ASEAN. So how to overcome the barriers is ASEAN will carry out to intensify the human development and also strengthening institutional framework, and also to leverage the private sector investment on ENC. And as the target set up under the APEC 2016-2005, so we need strengthening the collective efforts to achieve the goals under the APEC, and also we need the role of international organization and dialogue partners is viewed as very important to enhance the ENC implementation in ASEAN. And also the implement of the private sector also is viewed as very key tools on to achieve the successful ENC investment in ENC project realizations. And the last one, on how ENC going forward, ASEAN ENC approach need to be undertaken is the approach on stick and carrot strategy, as described in my presentation slide. Stick strategy look into how to establish the implementation of the regulatory framework, energy labeling system, and also how to phase out the subsidy on energy prices. And also as the carrot strategy to give encouragement to implementation of ENC. So need to establish a provision of incentive, award system, financial support, provision of and human resources and energy audit. So that's all my presentation, Benny. Hello. Benny?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Rio. Thank you very much for your presentation on the clean energy, on energy efficiency. That's it's very interesting. That's for both speaker we only have around 15 minutes for our session today, and we have a couple of questions. That's first I will come back to. I received a number of questions from our participants, and then first I will come back to asking to Miss Yosiana. That's we have a question that's asking that sorry that we have a question that's, could you shed some light on the off-grid renewable energy potential and the current state of the market? And Ms. Yosiana, can you respond to this question?
Yeah. Okay, Benny, thanks for the questions. Yes, on the off-grid potential, as I mentioned in my slide, that the average electrification ratio in ASEAN is around 8%. So there are still 20% of the population that has no access to the electricity. So yes, and this 20% is around, if we translate it into the total population, is around 100 million people. So yes, the potential is very, very big, and particularly for Cambodia, Myanmar, Philippines, and Indonesia. And as we know that the regions, the sun shines almost throughout the year. So if we talk about the renewable energy technology that could help on these rural electrifications and then off-grid electrification, it's solar PV, where it's easy to plug and play, and also micro hydro, and sometimes the small wind. And if we talk about the markets, in fact, most of this off-grid is, or if in the ASEAN context, usually the off-grid means also rural electrifications, because it's usually located in the remote area or in the very isolated islands. So mostly the markets or the fund where does it come from? It's usually right now only from the governments. But in some of these, some of the countries, they also have where the private sectors, the private project developers also try to look in this opportunity. But as I can say, at the current state, most of this off-grid or rural electrification is financed by the government or the grant from some other donors.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yossi, on that question. That's I come to the second question to you. That's is saying that there's a question from our participant that's asking that the support mechanism are quite high, 25 to 30% in Asia. That's why this number is not reflected to the higher development, the deployment on renewable energy project in Indonesia.
Okay, so I think you're talking about the feed-in tariff for the solar PV.
Yes, yes, that's what the question.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, actually the feed-in tariff for solar PV in Indonesia is the highest among the regions, but why we cannot see it reflected in the term of the total installed power capacity of solar PV? Yes, the leading solar PV right now it's still Thailand and Malaysia in the regions. In Indonesia, it's not so much, maybe around 10 megawatt if I'm not mistaken. Why? Even though the feed-in tariff is the highest in the regions, around 25 to 30 cent US dollars. So this feed-in tariff of solar PV is implemented in under this policy, the regulations under the Ministry of Energy, and it's implemented just at 2013, at the year of 2013. And it actually, in the policy itself, they have so-called the regulation of local content requirements. So when developers meet the criteria of 40% of the local content, they will receive the maximum, the top limit of the feed-in tariff, that is 30 cents. And then these regulations somehow got revoked at June 2014. So this local content requirement is has some issues. So the feed-in tariff right now is revoked, so it's no longer applied because it's the project developers of the solar PV. They have like Association of Solar PV in Indonesia, so they take Supreme Court asking the government to take down this the policy, the feed-in tariff policy that has the local content requirements. So that's why we do not see many of solar PV being installed in Indonesia, even though the feed-in tariff is quite high.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for that question. That's I have still a lot of questions from the participant. That's but we don't have much time. That's in my record we only have 6 minutes left. That's I think we will take note all those questions, and then we will pass to both of you to respond it properly, so we can circulate again to all the participants. Before that, before I close this, that's the final question. There's a statement from our participant that's saying that is ASEAN going to the right direction? Yes, ASEAN is going to the right direction on the clean energy, but it's not fast enough to reach the target. Can you quick respond before we close this session? That's can I start with Mr. Rio first? Just respond on this one, and please be short, and then as we have a limited time.
Yeah, Benny, responding to your question, yeah, ASEAN is now in terms of energy efficiency development, you see the quite remarkable development in ASEAN member states on their development of ENC. As for now, almost 8 countries has already established the energy efficiency regulation, including Myanmar. And Brunei also, they have specified the energy efficiency target and policy on the energy white paper. So to say that is ASEAN now going towards clean energy directions, still going forward. So we need a lot of collective efforts to achieve also the target of the APEC and keep moving towards the sustainable energy. Penny, back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Rio. That's can I ask to Miss Yossi on that session? Please be short on that one.
Okay, yeah. So answering the question, is the ASEAN going in the right directions? Yes, but I agree with the comment of the participants. We are not fast enough to reach our targets of the 23% of renewable energy share in energy mix, because with our calculations under the fourth ASEAN Energy Outlook, even though we implement the advancing policy scenarios, we could only reach around 20%. We still have around 3% gap, and that is our homework, all of us, to enhance. We have to enhance more of this renewable energy development. So yeah, the cooperations among the ASEAN and also with other countries are needed.
Yeah, that's yeah. So basically, we are on the same page. We are going to the right direction, but there is need more effort from ASEAN in regional level and national level to move to reach the target is already mandated on the renewable energy 23% by 2025 and energy intensity 20% reduction by 2020 based on 2005 level. That's we don't have much time left. That's as I said, that's all the questions from the participant will pass to both of you, and then for your kind assistant to come back with a detailed response that so we can share more information to all of friends in ASEAN and also beyond. And then for all the participants. This slide will be available for you to download, and then everything will be also recorded so you can have access to this webinar again. And as closing that, I would like to thank to our two speakers, Ms. Yosi in US. I hope you have a better time, and then Mr. Rio John Peter as well here in Jakarta. And my last word being that we are organizing this webinar on bi-monthly basis. So the next one will be on 26 July 2016 at 2 or 3 p.m. We will keep all of you in the loop of our discussion and hopefully to see you again in the second webinar. And for future collaboration and on the speaker that's on the partner for potential collaboration co-hosting the webinar on energy in ASEAN, feel free to contact me through my email address, and also that you may visit our website www.aseanenergy.org. That I would like once again thanks everyone. I hope this will contribute an effort for ASEAN to move together to the direction of clean energy. With that, I may say again, thank you, Yosi, and then thank you, Rio, and then thanks everyone.
Thank you, Benny.
Bye-bye, and then see you again in the second webinar on energy.
Thank you.